I will call the Joint Government Oversight and Finance Audit Budget Committees to order. Please rise. Pledge the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is adoption of the
Romano
agenda.
adopts the agenda.
Support Van Sickle.
I have a motion by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Van Sickle. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the meeting minutes dated April 1st, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Support Perna.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Gratz, supported by Commissioner Perna. Any discussion on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is our first of two public hearings. It's the opportunity for public participations for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any item on today's agenda. There will be a second opportunity for public participation at the end of the meeting. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, motion to close public participation. Okay, we will close it. Next item is appointment interviews, jury commission, circuit court bench recommendation with board concurrence, one vacancy, term to expire May 31st, 2031. We have the name of Ben Aloia to refer to full board. Motion.
Motion to recommend to full board. Support.
Motion by Commissioner Gratz, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next is an appointment to the Older Adult Advisory Committee with board concurrence. District 13 vacancy, partial term to expire on December 31st, 2025. I need a motion to refer Walter Martin to full board.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Lucido, supported by Commissioner Howard. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is proclamation. Proclamation honoring Tom Giftos on his 60th anniversary of National Coney Island, supported by Chair Sabatini, Commissioner Perna, myself. Motion to refer to full board.
Support.
Board.
I have a motion by Commissioner Perna, supported by Commissioner Romano. Commissioner Perna, would you like to speak on it?
I'll wait for the full board.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is Government Oversight Committee Correspondence, Older Adult Advisory Committee, first quarter report. Motion to receive and file.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Lucido, supported by Commissioner Howard. Any questions on the report? Seeing none,
Mr. Chair,
please vote. Oh, did you want to speak, Barbie?
could I speak, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Have we taken the vote? Is that acceptable?
You're fine.
We haven't voted yet.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Just wanted everyone to know that we have been working on a concern for senior isolation, which we are, I know you're aware of that. We found at our last meeting, last month, of course, that we are considering putting out a communication to the citizens of the county to see how they're doing. What we found at our last meeting is the Elder Justice Alliance in the county has put out communication, and it will be done back to them on June 1st. But that's in a whole different area. That's, they deal with serious situations, crime, other things. That's not social isolation. So we will be speaking in this month with our committee and Vice Chair Perna suggested tabling what we were talking about and which passed for this month, and we will be tying the strings on this month. And we're looking forward to seeing how that goes. It should work out well. We are concerned about our citizens, and we'd like to communicate with them, and that's really what it's all about. And thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to turn the gavel over to our Chair of Finance, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. I can guarantee we will not be as quick as yours was, but I'm going to give it a shot.
That was my goal.
In that spirit, I'd like to move on and combine actually items 10 and 11, and I'll take a motion to receive and file the Central Intake and Assessment Center quarterly update and dashboard report.
So move.
Motion from Commissioner Haas, support from Commissioner Wallace. Ben and team, come on up.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My favorite item, because I don't have to do all the talking. So this is the May 2025 quarterly report for the Central Intake Assessment Center project, and my team back here from Moran is going to go through the slides as we do each quarterly report. Thanks, Joe.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for having us back. Another great project, another great quarter, making some great progress. For those that have been out to the site, especially as of recently, we now have steel starting to erect on the project site. So we will get to the report, waiting for the to pop up. So again, a lot of great progress as we're moving forward. As we have in past quarters and in past months, we'll run through our typical agenda here that we've got. Overall, just a reminder of what our goals and objectives were, what the status of the project funding and budget, where we are from a procurement standpoint of our professional services. Design status is more so just a reminder of the overall project, especially for the commissioners that are newer to the panel. And then we'll give an overall update of where we are from a construction and operation standpoint. You have this in your, we've repeated this over and over again, but again, the goal here is always being mindful of what our goals and objectives are in this mission, is to be able to enhance the overall correctional system here in the county to be able to address substance abuse issues. Project funding, as a reminder, our three primary funding sources have not changed, nor has the overall project budget of just short of $229 million. The project does continue to stay on budget and on schedule. We do remind you and point you to the dashboard report that we send every month that does give you an update of our actual commitments and where those lie throughout the course of from month to month. Procurement status, not a whole lot has changed since last. Most of our professional services have been procured. We are starting to move towards the bottom of this into our FF&E, which is furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. We are in the process engaging the county's preferred furniture dealer, Interior Environments, to begin the process of looking at the furniture and equipment that is, we call non-detention grade. So any of the majority of the furniture and equipment is detention grade and has already been bought out as part of the construction process. But this is moving into the various office areas where we'll understand specifically the furniture furniture and equipment that'll be required to do those. And then as we move along, there'll also be various aspects of move management. Minor aspects of those have happened as we're shifting some operational type things right now, but for the most part, most of that move management will come when the areas that were in the current jail start to move to the central intake. Construction services technology, most of our construction service, of course, were bought out to meet our ARPA deadline in last December. Some of the technology has been procured, which is more so just in moving some of the dominoes. Some of the data center that's currently in the jail is in the process of moving. So some of these working with Metro Technologies and Macomb County IT have already been in process. We've already engaged the environmental consultant or environmental abatement contractor who has started some of the abatement aspects in Max Security, of which that's complete. And then they'll be remobilizing ahead of our demolition in the other wings to work on those pieces. Metro Technologies is in the process of issuing a bid package. That'll be the next package that'll be brought forward to the board, expected to come in August. I've mentioned this, I think, in the past. This is dealing with all of kind of the cabling that'll go in very early in order to all of this technology that's interwoven throughout the facility will be bought and installed. The rest of the technology, I think we've shared, will be deferred so that it's purchased just in time so that technology outdates so quickly. We don't want to buy it too early, so that'll come up a little bit later. Design status, just as a reminder, the annex, of course, has been demolished. Up next will be Max Security and D Block. Max Security, that process is already underway. As I mentioned, the abatement, some of the windows, starting some of the cut and cap. So over the course of the next couple months, you'll start seeing that. As we start moving into the later part of summer, D Block will be right on its heels. Rehab will actually be deferred until 2026. Just a quick reminder, of the overall kind of site plan, the new central intake to the north and west, new secured parking to the southwest, of course, the new entrance loop to bring for visitors entering the new central intake facility. Overall design still has not changed. Other views, vehicle sally port in the foreground, and some interior views in the new entrance view. Quick construction update. Much of the activities that are underway, actually there's a ton that happens behind the scenes. So as the construction manager and their trade contractors are in the process of confirming every material, everything that's installed. And so we have what's called a shop drawing and a submittal process. So that continues continues and will continue for months to come, in addition to the actual physical construction starting. So in the past month or so, if you've driven by, you'll start to see a lot of the deep foundation work where the basement was. And we still saw the concrete and some of these pictures you see with the foundations and the rebar. Much of that is installed and they're starting to come up out of the ground and they're backfilling. And so you're starting to reach more of what'll be the grade level of the building. But most of which is of all of the foundations and footings are all in place, as well as the associated underground utilities. With all of that, some of the pictures in the foreground, you start to see things like waterproofing. So because that is a basement level, those components are being installed. Also continuing to work across the site. If you've been to the south part of the site, the new electrical distribution to that is actually working its way across from the powerhouse, across the new central intake site to provide the primary power to the facility from the powerhouse. There's also, as I mentioned, the environmental abatement just wrapped up in Max Security. And then some of the renovation work is now underway within the tower. And so as F&O had completed some of the mesh project, if you recall some of that, with some of the security mesh, with that it has enabled vacancy of many dominoes to move. And so Pod A of the tower is now vacated, and Granger and their associated trades are working on some of the capital improvement work that was approved as part of this project, plumbing replacement, some of the electrical fire alarm type work. Some overall pictures of the site. The larger lower right picture is where you start to see a lot of the backfilling, a lot of the sand and compaction of all of that. I don't know how many trains of sand have been coming in order to bring that back in, but many for sure. Project continues to be on schedule as we move across with essentially the ARPA-funded portions of the project being able to wrap up by our deadline of December of 2026. There still will be aspects of the project that will be wrapping up into first, second quarter of 2027. But much of what you see is, you start to see the footing and foundation work starting to taper off, waterproofing work starting to taper off. Now we're going to start moving into the next couple months where we start moving into the steel erection. So if you've been out there, I think we're looking at a 3,000-ton crane is actually, as of last week, was starting to be assembled. And so in addition to the crane that's out there, you will see that towering above the site that will be positioned on the south side, primarily to be able to reach across the entire swing of the building and starting to erect the steel. So it'll start taking some real shape to what you've seen in a lot of the renderings when that steel skeleton starts to come up. In the coming months, by the time we start coming back for the next one, much of that steel will be well underway, and right on its heels will be some of the, when you see kind of the whitish color envelope around the perimeter of it, that's a precast material. Those panels will start swinging in place later this year. As we mentioned, coming back here in August is what we're anticipating. Bringing that structured cabling package is all that we have on the docket moving forward. Operational update. The Sheriff's Office continues to work very closely with partnering counties to deal with the inmate relocation. The current rated capacity is just under 1,100 for the jail. At this time, there's approximately about 100 inmates that have been relocated to approximately 4 or 5 counties, Don, I think. And so that has been a very cooperative type process. They do have capacity with Branch County down around the Ohio border, which gives them the capacity for, I think, another wave of upwards of 30 more inmates. To make room for, with the mesh project completing, is enabling some of the movement of inmates between D block and preparing for those demolition aspects. As I talked about, there is work now starting to happen in the tower and actively working with the Sheriff's Office in various areas. There have been some staff relocations to accommodate those impacted. The vehicle maintenance services have now 100% been relocated over to the radio building temporarily until the new space is done. So they'll be over there for the next couple of years. And then evidence storage is in process of being relocated right now from D block into the sheriff's garage. Any questions?
Joe, thanks for the presentation.
Absolutely. I'm trying to stay on task.
I love it. We do have several questions, so you may stay on task,
Okay.
but we're gonna run amok here for a minute.
All right.
Commissioner Ha, you're first.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Joe. On
How we doing?
slide 22, it says ARPA procurement deadline confirmed, Department of Treasury approved by board December 31st, 2024. What was confirmed?
Actually, that probably should have said completed.
Well, that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, yes, I think it was actually meant to say completed.
Okay. And on slide, it was in the beginning, page 8 and 7, you have listed the selected firms. I would like to see the addresses of where these selected firms are located.
We can provide that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was curious, during the excavation, did you run into any springs?
Springs?
Water.
Oh, water springs? No. We did actually have because of the depth of it, there was because of close proximity to the water table. There was what's called a dewatering system, which actually has kind of some wells that actively pump that out. So no, other than, mitigating that to allow for that work to happen, but no,
I
there's no.
understand there's normal groundwater, but I was just curious if we were gonna wind up in the future with any kind of, oh, we gotta go fix the drains on the springs or anything.
No.
Nothing like
No,
that,
sir.
okay, good deal. And on the white sheeting that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
is that a product that's been around for a while?
It's concrete.
It has been.
It is, yes, sir. It is actually precast, the envelope itself is precast concrete. So that is actually fabricated and cast in at their shop, in the shapes, forms, and everything, in the finishes.
Okay, so it's a standard type
It
of-
is, and it serves dual
Instructions.
purposes. One, it works as the exterior envelope, but it also works as a secured perimeter in this application.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, in the future, will that be steam cleaned or sandblasted?
There will be some aspects of power washing, but there are sealers that are designed into it. But yes, it does have the ability to be cleaned and such. Probably
have to
not,
will we
probably not sandblasted without really impacting it, but power washing usually addresses it.
So will we have to apply more sealants in the future?
Yes, potentially there would be some recoating applications that would be
Okay.
required as well.
Don, the tuck pointing we address every year. We have our architects and consultants look at the building envelopes to tell us if it needs to be resealed, tuck pointed, that sort of thing is our normal F&O process for all of our facilities. So it'll just be added to the list, just like the parking deck, for example, is all precast.
I'm glad we're doing something that's sort of in line with other materials
Yep.
you're used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good deal, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Perna.
Yes, thank you. Most of us are neophytes on construction, but my question is, when you put your budget together, you needed a certain amount of steel, concrete, bricks, et cetera, et cetera. When you order that and you don't use it, how does that reflect on the budget for our cost?
There's generally not cases to where it's not used. Each trade contractor will have, so there's a certain aspect of that they'll procure certain extra quantities relative to waste material. So depending on, they're the subject matter experts. So a mason, for instance, would have some idea of how much cut and waste that they would have. Also, as part of the design process, we do identify for certain materials, not all materials, that there are additional stock materials that might say that you're looking for additional floor tile or carpet tile, where there's an instance to where something happens and Ben and his team would want to have some stock materials. So there's a requirement in a lot of cases that that extra would be available. But typically there isn't a case to where there would be so much that they would have accounted for so much that there would be credits or anything coming back for that, unless there was something to where the scope was reduced.
So the excess did not go in Granger's inventory?
No. No, the idea is that any extra materials would be made available to the owner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Goike.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for the presentation. It's been 10 years since I worked on jobs that size. So I don't know with the new technology, my whole big concern is are as-built plans still being used, but computerized, by your inspectors as stuff is being done, it's completed, for the underground, the compaction and the reports all put in, and because you got a print to work with, but what actually gets put in the ground as built, are they still being used?
Yep, absolutely. The media does look a little different. Everything is transmitted electronically. So every shop drawing, every submittal, everything is all corresponded. How it's routed, how it's reviewed, everything is done electronically. We do have what's called a BIM model. BIM is an acronym for Building Information Modeling. So the design teams actually work to create a three-dimensional model of the entire of how the facility is constructed. That process, that model is actually turned over to the trade contractors, who then actually put in the actual products, the actual things that they've procured and are putting in that. And in fact, there's an ongoing weekly process to where the design team and all the trade contractors work to just understand the means of how they're routing everything through the building in vertically, horizontally, and identifying if there's any conflicts and working on how to work through those before the material is procured and actually installed in the field. So it mitigates any of those in-field type conflicts that arise to where you're trying to work around
Yeah,
it.
so that way all the, you know, the cable tray that you got ordered for the electricians and putting everything on and your communications and the power and stuff.
Yeah.
Your pipes fitting and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because it's, you know, I've been on enough jobs to see how everything actually
Yep.
ends up going in, and
Yeah.
something might be made wrong at the shop and they make it work, but just as long as we got good
Mm-hmm.
documentation so that they can work with it later. And then, are there any precast left in Macomb County? We used to have a big one at 10 Mile Road, and then the last one I knew was Gene over on 23. Or is all of our precast coming out from out of the county now?
I'm trying to remember where International Precast is our vendor. Are they down Trenton area? So I think they were the low bid contractor that was awarded the work.
That's been
So-
a technology for a long time. I think it's pretty good stuff, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
The interesting thing is you talk about prints. Actually, I kept a photograph. Typically, you guys have seen like a job box, right? It's this big metal box that they store all their tools, and they might have, each contractor would have their prints in them. Now that has transitioned to where, you know, each of the trade contractors will have a job box that actually has a video monitor in it, and they will work off of a computer and a laptop and just, you know, coordinate that. They do less and less off of paper prints these days.
Yeah, my son's doing the same now. I'm a has-been. Thank you very much for your time.
Very good.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Howard.
Thanks, Chair. If I read page 21 correct, the projected completion date is March or April of 2027. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. That was it.
Nice and easy. Thank you. Any other commissioners with questions? Okay, I don't see any on my list. Was there any, Don, did you want to add anything?
Yes, Commissioner Howe, I do have that listing for you. As you know, it's a very complex project. 25% of all the contractors are from Macomb County, despite the complexity of the project being the lowest bidder. So I'll have it, I'll give it to your assistant.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
I knew I could count on you.
See, the times where paper is actually valuable, and he carries it in his briefcase with him all the time.
Perfect timing to have that conversation.
For me, if it doesn't have a search engine, I'm not going to find it, so.
All right, team, thank you very much. We do have a motion to receive and file. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item 12A, which is a budget amendment for non-departmental capital outlay vehicle purchases in the amount of $1,226,227. Take a motion to move that to full board.
So moved.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Haas, support from Commissioner Romano. Vicky, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. You have before you a budget amendment prepared seeking some money from general fund balance to cover some vehicles within the sheriff's office, and then also some purchase orders that were issued from last year. When the 2025 budget was set and the board moved money from departmental funds and capital outlay all into the one pot of money for capital outlay, there was not a good understanding that some of that money for the vehicles were specifically tied to sheriff's vehicles that we collect revenue for on contracts. And then obviously there were some vehicles in the sheriff's office and then within animal control that again, a budget was established, a PO issued in 2024, and some portions of that, while the vehicles were bought themselves, some of the upfitting in that went into 2025. So our ask is that we have the budget amendment to be able to capture the revenue for the sheriff's office vehicles where there is revenue, and then also seek really that funding from last year that was appropriated for those carryover fund. So the attachment lays out the vehicles that we're talking about from the sheriff's office that are covered by contracts, and then it also lays out the couple of vehicles from animal control as well as the sheriff's office that were part of POs from last year as carryover.
Thank you, Vicky. Are there any questions from commissioners? I don't see any on my list, so we have a motion and support. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky. Next is item B, budget amendment, capital improvement fund, central intake and assessment center project, transfer from general fund balance for actual spend through April 15th, 2025, in the amount of $5,894,866. I'll take a motion to move that to full board.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Romano, support from Commissioner Ha. Vicky, go ahead.
Thank you. For this item, what we're seeking to do is really provide a reconciliation or catch-up for general fund dollars associated with the jail project. When the project was first approved back in July of 2023, the board appropriated funding from the ARPA funds, funding from our state grant, and then a portion of funds from the general fund. So in trying to keep up with where we're at and the actual dollars spent on the project and talking with some commissioners and Commissioner Kraft, we're presenting this reconciliation for those dollars actually spent out of county dollars and county funds. And then going forward, we would be here on a quarterly basis when the quarterly report on the jail project is presented. So far to date, with the funding that has been allocated from the board, as can be seen in the attachments in your packet, we have spent $13,360,963 of general fund dollars. And through board motions, $7,466,097 has been appropriated. So to catch us up to date for that reconciliation, we need the $5,894,866 to be appropriated from fund balance in the general fund to cover our expenses to date. For the expenses that you're looking at in the chart as laid out here, which matches the presentation again from Ben and Plant Moran, most of the general fund expenses to date have been for the professional services, which cannot be covered by ARPA or State of Michigan funds. So we knew going into the project that those would need to be covered with county general fund dollars. So that represents the bulk, or is the $11 million on that spreadsheet. And then you have smaller amounts under regulatory and owner costs, which represent some testing costs, some licensing fees, State of Michigan, consumers energy fall into those categories. So those are the types of expenditures that we're seeing out of the general fund today. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Before we get to questions, I wanted to thank Vicky for working with Commissioner Ha, Chair Sabatini, and myself on trying to figure out a sensible plan to bring this to the board. We were talking yearly, we were talking monthly, we were talking quarterly, and this just sort of felt like it made the most sense so that we can be updated, we know where the funds are going, and we're on track, and we're all on track. Yes. So with that, I'll go to Commissioner Howard.
This kind of goes for the last item as well. Assuming that we vote yes on this, is about $7 million and some change. Can we, when we're doing this, can we get an update on what our fund balance is? 'Cause I think the
Sure,
last
I
time
can
we got
start
it,
including that.
It was we just want to keep track of it.
Sure,
So that'd
no,
be super
makes sense.
helpful.
Yep.
And maybe just when we have our finance meeting, just get an update, our monthly finance meeting, like here's the general fund, or here's a fund balance during that. Would be beneficial. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Is this the $5 million that we put, the line item we put in the 2025 budget, or is this in addition to that?
this is in addition to that. So the board appropriated, if you look at the spreadsheet, back in July of 2023, when the board originally approved the project, the board appropriated basically $2.1 million. Then in 2024, IT brought a budget amendment for the fiber portion of the project for $270,000. And then I did include the 5 million appropriated by the board. So the balance remaining is the $5.8 million.
Okay, so the 2025 $5 million plus line item is spent already.
Correct, yes.
Okay, and this is totally in addition to that. How
Yes.
much more will we expect to have this year? Any?
Yes, we will. Well, we will have the remainder of planned out for professional services. You don't have, I know we talked about that, Joe. Right, yeah, we don't have the cash flow, but we can get that for you and what our expected is.
Okay, good, because I'm not sure we're expecting quite as quick of a buildup as we're seeing.
Right, and I think when you look at the professional services where a bulk of the money is, I think what a trend you're gonna see is right now, the majority of that is really architectural services, right? When you're following any project, they're really heavy up front and during the project. And then their bills will start to trail off, and then you'll see some of the other programs pick up. That's also some of them right now. Our technology, those are billed on a monthly basis. We have our costs for Plant Moran and project management. So I think you will see some of the architectural, which are the higher bills right now, start to trickle down as the project moves forward.
Are there significant professional services in anything other than architecture?
I guess define significant, just.
Thank you.
I'm not being smart. You're significant to me, may be different.
Several millions of dollars.
Yes, I believe all the contracts that have come before the board for professional services are several million.
And how many other than architecture are there? I mean, is there one for like electrical and water and communications, or?
No, those are within the construction budget.
If you go back to our presentation and we look at some of the items that have been procured, I think one of the earlier slides talked about the professional services that have procured when they were. Those are going to be things like Plant Moran's owner's rep services, Partners in Architecture doing the architecture, Synergy doing commissioning services. We would have material testing, the companies that's out there that's testing as they're compacting the soil and testing all those type of things. Those are many of the professional type services, and those are all listed within that. The environmental consultant who actually did the assessment of the environmental hazards. So if I pull.
Well, I would think the environmental studies and the soil compacting and those kinds of things are in the rearview mirror.
Many of them are, but they do run throughout the course of the duration of it. So for instance, as we look at, the architect owner's rep, like we're from start to finish, we'll carry on. But yes, some of those will taper off. The technology designer, they've had some of theirs, but those technology packages are now going to be issued over the next, in the next year. Environmental consultant, much of that has been done, but they monitor all of that environmental work that happens while that abatement happens. System commissioning is actually more at the end of the project, where as the construction's being done, those will come later. But the majority of what Vicky's referring to as far as we'll call them general funded portions of the project would be things like professional services, the technology portion of the budget. So when you look at I think there's about $9 million of technology. Most of that technology won't be bought until later this year and into next year. Furniture, fixtures, and equipment, those type of things are general funded aspects of it and will come later in the project. So yes, to your point, much of that will come later, but as the professional services that have been expended up to this point are still going to continue on through the duration of the project.
Do we have any kind of roadmap with guesstimates as to when bills will arrive and how much they will be?
Yes, we've been working with Vicky in preparing cash flow projections across not only the construction, so the construction aspect that falls under Grange, majority of Grangers will be funded from ARPA funding as well as the state of Michigan funding. Most of that is captured by all of the hard trade contracts, but there are portions of Granger's contract or the construction that's funded out of general fund. All the capital improvement work, for instance, is all funded as part of the capital, as part of the general fund.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
About the state's 40 million, are there any restrictions on that similar to the restrictions on the ARPA money?
Yes, I mean, from the standpoint of right now, what we're approved for is construction. So as Joe talked, it's similar to the ARPA project, that it's those hard costs.
So none of it
for
would be for the professional services? for-
construction, not at this time. We've talked about, depending on where we land in this process of going back and asking the state to change our categories. But right now, from all the budgets and the estimates that have been planned for the project, we need the 40 million in hard construction.
So we haven't touched into the 40 million from the state yet, I'm hearing, because we're dipping into the ARPA money, and the ARPA money and the state money are roughly the same categories?
No, we have dipped into some of the state money, 3.3 million. Again, if when you get a chance to take a look at my at the attachment, you'll be able to see what's laid out as
Okay.
state of Michigan. So right now, we have billed 3.3 million of construction costs to the state.
Okay, good.
And none to our general fund dollars, because that's for construction, that's our last.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chair Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Just to kind of follow up on those points, Vicky is spot on. So, when we look at the dashboard, or we've been looking at the dashboard that has been presented to us, it's been more of a high level. The attachment that is in this specific amendment here goes a little bit more in detail, Commissioners. So it breaks out general fund, ARPA, and state reimbursements. So we can actually see exactly where the numbers are falling. So I think this will answer a lot of our questions too, specifically with professional services. Obviously, we have spent most of the great portion of that has been general fund dollars, but this breaks it out more in detail for us. And the $5 million, as far as what we appropriated for this project during the last budget cycle, obviously is for this budget cycle, so we wanted to use that $5 million this year rather than leaving it on the table. So it made the most sense to reconcile and use it up here. So, and then going forward, as Chair Kraft has said, this will be done more on a quarterly basis, so we'll be more in tune to the numbers. So I think we've got a great plan going forward, and everyone's on board. So, and we've had a lot of meetings in the background here to kind of get it to this point. So kudos to the team. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I appreciate the time with you and helping work through it. And yeah, hopefully between the quarterly report that you're used to seeing and then the report I provide, the numbers will line up. So it'll be in the same format every quarter from my office as well.
Vicky, one more question from
Sure.
Commissioner Goike.
Thank you. It just dawned on me here. Who's carrying the insurance, and is that, for on this building site, is that Plant Moran doing it for all the materials and everything and all the construction to the point of where it's at, or is there the insurance on everything right now?
So insurance will be carried by each vendor. So every, like the construction manager does carry insurance. Each professional services does carry insurance. The county does have a contract. There is a builder's risk policy that's in place. In fact, Corporation Council had brought that forward back in November, I think is what it was. But yes, I mean, all the insurance and everything are met and in place.
For my wheels to turn, it's like, oh, I didn't see it here. It's like,
Yeah.
It's pretty important. Thank you.
That, just so you know, Commissioner, that's represented under the owner cost, that $536,000 is a large part of the builder's risk for us.
Yeah.
All right, seeing no other questions, please vote. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to item C, which is a contract with Chirco Title Examination Services in the amount of $237,500. I'll take a motion to move that to full board.
So moved.
Support Zinner.
Motion from Commissioner Romano, support from Commissioner Zinner. Skip, floor is yours. Paige, you coming too?
I'm here to
Back
introduce
up.
Paige Bashand, our Deputy of Collections. She handles this. She'll explain it. Please explain it to me too, please.
Hi, good afternoon.
Go ahead, Paige.
So this is a contract for title services. As part of our tax reversion process, we contract with title companies to research owners and interested parties. We do have one primary contract already in place, and that's with Colonial Title. This would be secondary, and this one is with Chirco. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Paige. Are there any questions? Commissioner Van Sickle.
Good afternoon. Are any of these costs recuperated from transactions with the properties?
They are. So the General Property Tax Act allows us to charge $175 per title work on every forfeited parcel. So these costs are recuperated through that $175.
Do we get any significant portion of them back?
We get most of them back. So anytime the taxes are paid, those fees are paid. And then if they ultimately are not paid, those properties are foreclosed, the property is sold, and we recoup our costs that way.
So do the monies that come back go against this line item, this expense line item?
Yes.
So at the end of the year, we should see it be significantly lower?
This is all in the delinquent tax revolving fund. So yeah,
Okay.
it comes in and out.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Goike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I see that there's a lower bid from Property Insight LLC. Why wasn't they chose over Chirco?
Property Insight LLC, that was the Florida company?
Okay.
So we stuck with a Macomb County company. Also have never worked with anyone from Florida. It's kind of hard for some of them
Okay, I
to do
kinda
the
get
work
that.
when they're
But
that far away.
I've had personal experience with Chirco, and they weren't very competent. I had to sue them. I had a legal lien on a property right here at our county building. They closed on it, and I had to sue Chirco to get my money. So you can see I'm a little distasteful about their competency.
I know that they're a county vendor for other county departments, and they've been a previous vendor of the treasurer's office. We've not had a problem with them
Well,
in
maybe
the
I was a once in
past.
1,000, but leaves a bad taste when you got to sue somebody to get what should have never happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. In going back to what Mr. Goike said, and I'm sorry that had to happen, that you had to sue him, but I've been doing business with Chirco Title for probably over 40 years. And honestly, I've never, ever had a situation where I've had to go back and say to them, listen, guys, you made a mistake. And if there was ever a mistake from my entire office, and I had 3 of them going, they rectified it immediately. I just want to alleviate some of the concerns, if there are any concerns, for any of the other commissioners, because we do use Chirco Title. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just proving that Commissioner Goike is 1 in a million. Seeing no other speakers, commissioners, please vote.
Good job, Paige.
Thank you both.
They wouldn't resolve it.
Motion passes 12-1. Commissioner Goike voting no.
Thank you. Next, I'll take items D and E together. I'll take a motion to move to full board the budget review calendar for fiscal year 2026 and the budget review supplemental worksheet.
So moved. Support.
Motion from Commissioner Wallace, support from Commissioner Lucido. Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I was looking at the proposed meetings, like Monday, October 27th. You have finance, audit, and budget. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 categories. Do you intend on bringing all 8 in for that date?
Pack a snack.
I'm voting no.
We're doing what we've tried to do in the past, is lump like departments together so we can get them all here at the same time. It may look daunting, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it looks.
Great. You better bring dinner.
That's not every 1 in a million, is it?
Maybe we could limit
Bring
certain
the
people's
candy.
amount of talking.
Well, I'll have Halloween
Any-
by then.
Yeah. Any other commissioners with questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item 13, public participation. This is the opportunity for anybody from the public who wishes to speak on any issue for a maximum of 3 minutes. Anybody from the public wishing to speak? Anyone from the public? All right, seeing none, we'll close public participation and we'll move on to commissioners' comments. Anybody? Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to point out, and I want to thank Crystal for sending us the calendar for the month of the chairman. I think he needs to take a breath, tone back a little bit. That was one, if you haven't read it, please read it. The amount of meetings he's sitting in and things he's doing is just phenomenal. So slow down. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? All right, seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Commissioner Romano, support from Commissioner Wallace.
Get that in there so quick.
Vote.
Please vote.
Go home.
We are adjourned. See you all tomorrow.